They revealed the mysterious secrets of Cain's city and its shocking connection to fallen angels. Few knew what truly happened that night, when shadows lurked and whispers carried through the dark. The city of Enoch, built by Cain, stirred with an undercurrent of dread, unmatched by any tale from days gone by. Its streets, paved with slick stones glistening under the pale moonlight, seemed to hold secrets within every crevice, lurking just out of sight. But what was it about this place that sent chills through the bones of its inhabitants? The buildings rose tall, adorned with intricate carvings that hinted at forces beyond imagination. The air thickened with tension, as if the heavens themselves held their breath. It was here that humanity's first fracture echoed the mark of Cain, heavy on the hearts of the living. As night fell, the horizon darkened, transforming the once vibrant city into a ghost town, shrouded under a veil of mystery. Only the sound of rustling leaves and the distant howl of the wind disturbed the silence, a foreboding reminder of memories too painful to linger on. There were tales of strange occurrences, of men melting into shadows and women disappearing without a trace. People spoke of angels, but not the benevolent kind. They whispered of the fallen, of beings who descended from the heavens, now bound to the earth in search of something sinister. The question loomed large. Were these celestial beings warning the people of impending doom, or were they sowing the seeds of chaos? In the depths of Enoch, to see wasn't to believe, it was to witness something unfathomable, a convergence of worlds. Eyes widened with terror and wonder. What if Cain's ambition painted a dark canvas against the backdrop of divine intervention? Streets filled with laughter now echoed with dread. Every corner held a tale, every face a mask of uncertainty. The blacksmith's hammer rang out, punctuating the unease, yet it could not drown the rising tide of fear. What was being forged in the fires of Enoch? As morning crept upon the city, light barely broke through the veil of fear that clung to its inhabitants. Whispers of miracles and calamities echoed in the temples, light mingling with shadow in a stark dance. Each story held the weight of mystery, each encounter tinged with the possibility of otherworldly touch. What truths lay hidden in the cracks of Cain's city, entangled with the fates of angels? As night approached once more, a dark presence loomed, waiting. What was the real connection between Cain and the fallen angels? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As the sun dipped below the horizon again, casting long shadows across the city of Enoch, the air grew thick with an unsettling energy. The citizens moved restlessly, their hearts burdened by the whispers that danced upon their lips. It was in this hour, marked by uncertainty and impending dread, that the fabric of their lives would begin to unravel. Among the inhabitants was a woman named Naomi, a skilled weaver with threads of vibrant color that mirrored the fleeting joys of her life. Yet, lately, even the brightest hues seemed dull against the weight of fear that gripped the city. Naomi often wondered about the stories that wove themselves through the lives of those around her and how they connected to the dark tales of Enoch. She listened to the elders speak of the fallen angels with a mix of reverence and terror, her heart tugging at the threads of her own fate. One evening, as shadows deepened, Naomi found herself drawn to a secluded part of the city. The cobblestones were slick with dew, and the air crackled with an energy that felt both foreign and familiar. She paused by a crumbling wall, a remnant of an older structure, and placed her hand upon its surface. The stones felt cold, yet there seemed to pulse a life within them, whispering secrets of a world unseen. Suddenly, from the twilight emerged a figure. It glided closer, a tall silhouette against the encroaching night. Naomi's breath caught in her throat. This was no mere mortal. A being clothed in light appeared before her, radiant yet shrouded in an aura of sadness. With wings that glinted like stars, it hovered, eyes vast and ancient. "Why do you tremble, child of Cain?" It spoke, voice echoing like the wind through a canyon. Nehemiah could only manage a whisper. Are you sent to warn us? Are you the hope we seek or the chaos we fear? The angel's expression shifted, sorrow washing over its ethereal form. We are the bridge between realms, here for our own reasons. Choices manifest in unexpected ways. Cain's legacy was not merely a mark but a choice that ripples through the fabric of destiny. Confusion danced in her heart. But what of the fallen? What connection do they have with us? The fallen are bound by their own choices, the being responded, its tone now a gentle caress of understanding. They wander in search of redemption, yet oblivion calls to them. Their presence grips this land tighter with each passing hour, inviting choices that could lead to rise or ruin. Nehemiah's mind raced. She recognized the weight of her own choices, the bonds that tied her to a city steeped in darkness and light alike. Then what is to become of us? How can we break free from this cycle? Before an answer could take form, a violent gust of wind swept through the alley, launching leaves and dust into a whirling frenzy. The figure began to fade, its luminous wings drawing back like the dawning horizon. Seek the truth within. In each shadow lies a reflection. Your heart holds the key. Nehemiah, forward or backward is yours to decide. With that final utterance, the angel dissipated into the night, leaving Nehemiah breathless and alone, surrounded by the walls that still held more secrets than she could fathom. The weight of its words haunted her. How did the choices of the past shape her present? What paths lay before her, and which held the promise of salvation rather than despair? As the city fell deeper into slumber, she pondered, could the connection between Cain and the fallen redefine her destiny, or were these reflections merely echoes of the unchangeable? And what role did she have to play in this haunting saga of light and darkness? The night air was heavy with unspoken questions as Nehemiah returned home. The intricate patterns of her woven cloth lay scattered about her humble dwelling, each thread a testament to her labor, but tonight they felt like mere symbols of the greater tapestry yet to be unraveled. She took a moment to breathe deeply, allowing the warmth of the hearth to comfort her racing heart. Yet even in the flickering light, the shadows seemed to stretch farther than usual, whispering the ancient tales of her ancestors. Among her thoughts was the echo of the angel's warning, a bridge connecting realms, growing thinner with every passing choice. Nehemiah wondered about the tales she had heard in her youth, the stories woven by elders around the fires, tales of the righteous and the wicked, of angels and demons. She felt the pull of something primordial, as if the threads of time were interlacing with her very soul. Driven by a restless spirit, Nehemiah gathered her woven works and ventured once more into the windswept streets. The people of Enoch slept, but the moon poured silver light over the cobblestones, illuminating her path toward the old marketplace, where long-forgotten stalls once thrived. Here, she hoped to find the keeper of those tales, an old man named Jeremiah, known for his wisdom and knowledge of Enoch's hidden depths. Jeremiah sat hunched over his collection of relics, the weight of years etched into his lined face. His eyes glimmered in the dim light as Nehemiah approached. "Ah, child of the weaver, have you come seeking light in the shadows?" "I have questions," Nehemiah answered, her voice a soft tremor. "I've seen a vision of an angel, who spoke of Cain and the fallen. There was talk of choices that shape our destinies. What does it all mean for us here, in Enoch?" Jeremiah leaned forward, his voice low and measured. "You tread on sacred ground. Cain's mark was not just a punishment, it was a gift of choice amidst suffering. Like him, individuals tread the path of creation and destruction. It demands courage to embrace one's destiny, and it is woven with a multitude of threads that span generations." Nehemiah's brow furrowed. "And the fallen? How do they fit into this cycle?" "The fallen, dear girl, sought knowledge beyond their limits. They related too closely to humankind and suffered for it. Their presence is felt in the heart of Enoch, a testament to temptation and pursuit of understanding. Many of them were drawn to the joys and sorrows of mortal life, yet they wander, bound by the very choices they made." As Nehemiah contemplated these words, her heart thudded against her ribcage. "So, we create our own chains and our freedom, don't we? Indeed, Jeremiah replied solemnly. But be wary, not all choices lead to light. In this city, shadows await eager hearts, ready to exploit doubt and fear. The dance between the living and the fallen is intricate, it requires grace to navigate. Naamah felt a fire kindling within her. Could it be that she held the possibility of change a chance to break the cycle? Yet uncertainty gnawed at her resolve. Then tell me, Jeremiah, how can we find redemption in the face of such despair? Jeremiah's gaze drifted toward the darkened sky framed by the marketplace. One must tread carefully. Seek the whispers among the ancients, look to your heart, and dare to follow its pull. A single choice can spark a flame of hope or extinguish it. Know this, the bond shared between all threads is not meant to bind but to reveal. Let your heart illuminate your path. Naamah nodded slowly, feeling the weight of her own choices slip through her fingers like sand. Could she break free from the legacy of despair encircling her like a shroud? As Jeremiah continued to recount tales of those brave enough to venture into the unknown, Naamah felt the questions spiral within her like a restless wind. What if the connection between Cain's choices and the fallen's fate mirrored the struggles within her own heart? Was it possible that by grappling with her past, she could shape a future laced with light rather than shadow? The taste of uncertainty lingered on her tongue. As she stood, the path ahead felt unclear, yet resolute, a journey woven with the threads of her choices yet to come. The stars blinked in the vast tapestry of the night sky as Naamah left Jeremiah's side, the echoes of their conversation dancing in her mind like flickering candlelight. Each step returned her closer to the heart of Enoch, yet further from the clarity she sought. The air shifted around her, thick with both urgency and a lingering sense of ponderance, as if the very city held its breath, waiting for her next move. As she wandered through the dimly lit alleys, shadows morphed into figures of her imagination, the spirits of those who had grappled with despair, those who sought redemption along treacherous paths. Stories floated around her like the remnants of a dream, half understood, but alive with meaning. She could almost hear their whispers, entwined with her own questions. Naamah, a soft voice interrupted her reverie. It was Miriam, her closest companion, who stood at the entrance of a quaint apothecary, the faint scent of herbs wafting from within. The soft glow of lantern light danced in Miriam's curious eyes. "You look troubled, dear friend. What burdens your heart?" Naamah hesitated, caught between the anguish of sharing her newfound understanding and the warding off of despair. "It's hard to explain. I've learned of our ancestors' choices, of Cain's mark and the shadows of the fallen. Is it possible that our lives are merely the echo of their past?" Miriam considered this, brushing her fingers against the cool stone wall beside her. "Perhaps our lives are merely echoes, but are they not each unique? Every echo resonates differently. Our true challenge is to mold the echoes into something more. We cannot change the past, but we may carve out new paths." "Carve new paths," Naamah repeated, the words feeling heavy yet liberating. "But what if I find myself enchanted by the very shadows I attempt to shun? What if I make choices that lead me to the same despair that beckoned the fallen?" Miriam stepped closer, her voice steady. "Fear often masquerades as wisdom, my friend. You must discern the voice of your heart from the clamor of doubt. Trust that you hold more lighting than shadow within you, and the key is in choosing which light to follow." The exchange lingered in the air, weaving new threads into Naamah's restless heart. She had long feared the darkness, yet Miriam offered a mirror to reflect the light that could also shine from within. The prospect of choices as a form of creation stirred something deep within her. Could her actions initiate a ripple that might transcend despair? Still wrestling with doubt, Naamah felt compelled to delve deeper into the ancient history of Enoch and its relation to the fallen. She recalled the stories of her people that spoke of a hidden temple, a sanctuary of knowledge within the city, said to house the mysteries of both the righteous and the wicked. Perhaps there lay the truths she sought, a place where the essence of Cain and the whispers of the ancients converged. With Miriam by her side, Naamah embarked on a quest to uncover the temple's whereabouts, convinced that its secrets might reveal the missing pieces of her puzzle. The streets of Enoch transformed under their feet, becoming a labyrinth of hope and uncertainty, with every corner turned serving to deepen the mystery. As they approached the rumored location, a tremor rippled through Naamah, a chilling recognition that the temple's knowledge was not merely a treasure trove of ancient wisdom but a crucible that could either illuminate or consume. Would she discover the truth that could reshape her destiny, or would she tread into darkness, following the footsteps of the fallen? In the reverberating silence, a solitary question lingered in Naamah's heart: was she prepared to confront the shadows of the past, even if it meant unearthing the very roots of despair that elder stories spoke of? For it was only by facing the darkness that she might find what lay hidden, perhaps even revelation and renewal. As Naamah and Miriam traversed the winding paths of the city, the air thickened with an ancient energy, pregnant with a history that whispered through the stones beneath their feet. The aura of Enoch seemed to pulse, beating in time with the curiosity and trepidation swelling in Naamah's chest. Was it truly destiny that led them to seek the hidden temple, or merely the folly of youth? Caught in the riptide of ancestral shadows, the lanterns flickered as they ventured deeper, illuminating the arching stone structures that loomed like sentinels guarding secrets long forgotten. Naamah couldn't shake the feeling that these walls had absorbed every sigh, every lament of the souls who had walked before her. What if the temple holds not just wisdom, but cautionary tales of ruin? She pondered aloud. Every story, Miriam replied softly, is laden with its lessons. Not all are shunned, some serve as guideposts to the light. We need only tread carefully. Her eyes glistened with a mixture of hope and anxiety, mirroring Naamah's own internal struggle. As they turned down a cobbled path dimly lit by the moon, they noticed markings etched into the stones, faint symbols that pulsed with a gentle luminescence. Miriam knelt to examine them closely. Look, Naamah. These symbols tell of the first transgressors, of choices made and paths diverged. This city was not built solely upon the foundation of sin, there were also those who sought redemption. Naamah gazed at the carvings, a depiction of a figure holding a flame in one hand and a seed in the other. The imagery stirred something within her, a flicker of understanding that perhaps birth and destruction lay in the same breath, eternally intertwined. Is it possible, Miriam, that the very essence of our journey is found in the interplay of these elements? Indeed, her friend replied. Even Cain carried the burden of being a creator alongside his darkness. We cannot overlook that the journey is fraught with both struggle and opportunity. The temple may reveal the paradox we must embrace. With renewed determination, they pressed on until they beheld a towering structure, partially obscured by vines and the weight of time. Among the crumbling stones, they recognized the unmistakable outline of an ancient archway, beckoning them forward with a sense of urgency that seemed almost corporeal. The air crackled, whispering promises of knowledge to those brave enough to enter. As they stepped through the threshold, an unexpected chill enveloped them, almost as if the temple itself was a living entity harboring memories too immense to bear. Darkness swallowed the space, but faint glimmers of light sprang to life around them, illuminating murals that recounted the stories of ancient struggles, the rise and fall of those who walked too close to the edge of light and shadow. Naamah's heart quickened as she focused on one vivid painting dominated by the figure of Cain, depicted not merely as a harbinger of sin, but as one wielding a complex spirit, anger, creativity, and regret interwoven like strands of a single thread. He was more than a victim of fate, Naamah whispered, awe anchoring her words. He was a creator, bound by choice. What do you see? Miriam asked, entranced by Naamah's rapt focus. The stories are not just warnings, they are invitations. Invitations to understand the depth of our struggles and how they shape our choices. Perhaps the fallen and the righteous both sought to understand their existence through the same tapestry, Naamah reflected, her voice tremulous with revelation. The ethereal light seemed to pulse in recognition, illuminating another mural that depicted a gathering of angels, their expressions torn between compassion and judgment. A realization swept over Naamah: this temple was a confluence of light and shadow, truth and anguish, much like her own existence. But amidst the revelations, another question surfaced, casting a shadow. What price would she have to pay for delving into these secrets? Might it awaken forces better left dormant? The realization throbbed in her soul as she turned to Miriam, What if understanding these truths leads me to the very despair I wish to avoid? Will the shadows that shaped our forebears seek to ensnare me as well? In that moment, Nehemiah knew their quest for knowledge was far from over. The temple was merely the beginning of a journey that would test the very marrow of her spirit. Would she, like those before her, find strength in vulnerability, or would she falter at the precipice of her own fears? The light cast yet another garbled shadow, hinting at deep mysteries yet to be unveiled. As Nehemiah and Miriam navigated the dim chamber, the air thickened, almost crackling with the weight of untold stories. The murals around them whispered secrets of a time when the ethereal and the corporeal intertwined more freely, when choices bore fruits visible to all and not just to the seer. The echo of their footsteps reverberated against the ancient stones, as though the temple itself held its breath, eager to share what it kept hidden. "Look there," Miriam pointed to a mural where figures appeared to dance in an intricate spiral, their movements both joyous and sorrowful. The expressions on their faces seemed to capture the myriad emotions: triumph, loss, and longing, a testament to the complexity of human experience. "They look like they're caught between worlds. Is this how they dealt with their choices?" Nehemiah's gaze followed Miriam's, tracing the lines of the dancers, each stroke of paint infused with a heartbeat. Perhaps they found solace in their shared struggle, a recognition that the dance between light and dark was not theirs alone. But I wonder, was this unity forged in understanding, or simply a surrender to their fates? She mused, the curiosity drawing her deeper into the narrative. Turning to the next mural, they beheld scenes of harvest grains ripening under the sun, hands reaching out in brotherhood. But juxtaposed against the bounty were images of desolation, barren fields and silhouettes of figures wandering alone, shadows cast long and haunting. "It feels like a cycle," Miriam noted, taking in the juxtaposition. "The abundance followed by emptiness. Does it repeat in every generation?" "Maybe it does," Nehemiah replied thoughtfully, "and each generation tries to break free from the shackles of those who came before. But what if freedom is merely an illusion? What if these stories show us that we are running in circles, tracing paths that have already been walked?" A shiver ran through Nehemiah, a burgeoning sense of solitude creeping in. They had sought wisdom, yet here lay evidence of the persistent anguish of humanity. "Is understanding our past meant to liberate us or to bind us to it?" she whispered, her voice a fragile thread against the temple's silence. Miriam's brow furrowed, her brow lit with resolve. "Perhaps it's both. If understanding leads to greater compassion first for ourselves, then toward those who stumble, then it could guide us away from despair. We must reckon our depths before we can rise higher," she articulated softly, their conversation a balm against rising uncertainty. As they turned yet again, a deeper chamber yawned before them, cloaked in thick shadows. They felt an uninvited sense of dread, yet the flickering light spoke of possibilities yet unrisen. Some painted figures here looked upward as if pleading, and others, draped in veils, appeared to stand sentinel over secrets shrouded in forgotten myths. "Do you feel that?" Miriam asked, her voice barely a whisper. "Something is alive here, a presence. It speaks through these images." Her eyes danced with a mixture of anticipation and fear. Nehemiah nodded, the gravity of their quest settling squarely on her shoulders. "We must choose wisely how we move forward. What is it we seek? The truth, or merely the comfort of knowing we are not alone in our pain?" Just then, an almost imperceptible shudder ran through the temple, stirring the air as if answering Nehemiah's question. Shadows flickered violently against the walls. Dread washed over her, a fleeting thought of the fallen, their presence still haunting this sacred space. Were they merely echoes, or did remnants of the past linger, waiting to ensnare the curious souls who dared to trespass upon ancient ground? Nehemiah felt drawn to the heart of the chamber, where a solitary stone pedestal stood, ancient and covered in symbols that pulsated softly, as though breathing. What rested upon it, she could not yet discern, but her spirit stirred with intrigue. "Whatever lies ahead may change us, Miriam. Are we prepared to know not only the glories of the past but also its shadows?" Nehemiah's heart raced at the implications, the weight of the unknown urging her onward even as fear coiled around her heart. the flickering light seemed to beckon them, daring them to comprehend the truths withheld, mysteries still unspoken. Would they emerge from this journey enlightened, or would they find themselves ensnared in the very shadows they sought to understand? As their hands hovered over the ancient markings, a final echo resounded in Nehemiah's mind: would uncovering these mysteries forge a path to redemption, or would it tether them deeper into the very darkness they aimed to escape? As Nehemiah and Miriam drew nearer to the solitary stone pedestal, a warm, pulsating light enveloped them, contrasting sharply with the grey stillness of the chamber. The air thrummed with palpable anticipation, and their hearts echoed each pulse as if they were woven into the very fabric of the place. The symbols etched into the stone appeared alive, each letter and curve resonated with an energy that felt ancient yet somehow familiar. "Do you feel it?" Miriam asked, her voice shaking with awe. "It's like, the past is calling to us, urging us to listen." Nehemiah could scarcely breathe, her eyes caught in a trance, reflecting the light of the pedestal that seemed to breathe its own life. "Yes," she whispered. "But whose voice are we hearing? The whispers of those lost among the shadows, or the remnants of long-forgotten truths?" They exchanged a glance, an unspoken understanding passing between them. They stood at the threshold of a deeper exploration, and within that gravity lay the dual specters of desire and fear. Miriam reached out before secondary thoughts could dampen her resolve. Her fingers brushed over the symbols, which felt warm against her skin, almost as if absorbing her touch. "Look," she said, pointing to a symbol that depicted a hand grasping a heart, entwined by vine-like letters that spoke of connection. "It must mean something sacred, a bond, perhaps, with ourselves, with each other, and something beyond." Nehemiah's mind raced. "Or a warning. There are ties that bind, and not all are benevolent. Could these symbols speak of the choices made by those who walked before us? Choices that led to either elevation or destruction?" Just then, figures began to emerge from the wall, their forms shimmering as if they were stepping out from a reverie. Nehemiah recognized them from the murals she had studied. They were the dancers, now more fleshed out, embodying the stories that lingered in the air. Their faces were painted with expressions that held both profound joy and torment, each moment of their twirling resembling a dance of duality, creation and chaos, love and hate. Miriam clutched Nehemiah's arm tightly. "They're showing us something." They observed carefully as one figure, a woman adorned in swirling colors, reached out, her hands inviting yet heavy with the weight of unshed tears. Another figure, a man with stern eyes, shifted anxiously beside her. "Do not fear, they only wish for us to witness," Nehemiah explained softly, a gentle resolve encompassing her observations. The figures beckoned, pulling Nehemiah and Miriam deeper into the essence of their plight. The swirling dance morphed into scenes of sorrowful choices, the tapestry of relationships unfolded, layer by opulent layer, revealing moments of connection faltering under the weight of ambition and jealousy. As if rehearsing their tragedies before them, the dancers became entangled in a web of actions, heartbeats syncing with the very stones that surrounded them. "Is this what it means to be human?" Miriam pondered, her brow furrowing. "To dance on the edges of our desires and fears, caught in cycles we're sometimes unaware we perpetuate?" Nehemiah nodded solemnly. "With each turn, perhaps a lesson emerges, the call for accountability. But if we see ourselves reflected in their struggles, does that not also solicit compassion towards ourselves and others? Each of us bears shadows we battle daily." Suddenly, there was a shift. The pedestal emanated a more pronounced glow, and the figures began to dissolve back into the stone, replaced now by the ominous image of a city, a sprawling landscape filled with shadowy silhouettes and towering structures. "Cain's city," Nehemiah breathed, piecing together forgotten tales. "The link is apparent. But what of those who walked among the fallen?" The light dimmed, and the oral murmurings of the chamber began to rise, forming words, half-whispered, half-screamed, reverberating in the stillness. The burden of choice weighs heavily, but the true essence lies in acknowledgement and acceptance of one's place within the cycle. Miriam stepped back, her heart racing. What if the ghosts of Cain's city linger here, still seeking atonement for their choices? Are we walking into a trap laid long ago? Nehemiah felt a forbidding chill wrap around them, echoing Miriam's worry. Or perhaps, this is not a trap but an invitation to understand the depths of existence, what it means to truly live amid shadows while striving for light. As the words hung in the air, a shift of energy surged, stirring the dust of ages long past. One last flicker beckoned, an offering of shared truth before its eventual overshadowing. Would unraveling the mysteries of Cain's city tether them to the specters of those who had strayed, or would it reveal paths untaken, leading toward illumination? Standing at the brink of revelation, Nehemiah could feel her heartbeat synchronize with the temple's pulse. Would they find refuge in understanding, or would they become woven into the fabric of its haunting with no return? The air thickened with an unseen presence, the heaviness settling like fog around Nehemiah and Miriam. As the last remnants of the dancing figures faded into the pedestal, an ethereal silence enveloped them, punctuated only by the rhythmic pulsing that now felt insistent, almost urgent, guiding their thoughts and emotions. What do we do now? Miriam's voice trembled, blending wonder with trepidation. If this is an invitation, what are we being invited to discover? And who, or what, are we meant to confront? Nehemiah pondered. Perhaps the spectral remnants of Cain's city are not mere phantoms of the past but echoes of narratives still relevant today. Their choices may mirror those looming in our world, calling for recognition. Are we not all haunted by the vestiges of our own wrongs? As they spoke, the warm light painted their faces and flickered with a new intensity, like the rise of dawn after a long night. Nehemiah turned again toward the pedestal, where the symbols carved into it had transformed, now shifting, revealing new depictions, figures with wings, both majestic and sorrowful. "Look!" cried Miriam. "Fallen angels, perhaps?" Could this be? But Nehemiah interrupted, her voice hushed. "Let us not rush to conclusions, Miriam. The essence of these beings may not merely be of downfall, but of transcendence. Their wings could represent a journey striving towards something greater, yet burdened by the gravity of earthly choices." The imagery of the wings tugged at something profound within Nehemiah. It pulled her memory towards the tales her mother had told her when she was young, a time when ancient beings walked among them, guiding and misleading, sometimes simultaneously. Their fall may not solely symbolize defeat. What if it was also an act of rebellion against stagnation? To seek freedom, even when tethered to consequences? Miriam seemed lost in thought, her eyes drifting to the swirling designs. But if they sought elevation yet fell into chaos, what lesson does that impart to us? Are we destined to repeat their mistakes, climbing heights only to tumble back into the abyss? Nehemiah walked closer to the pedestal, the warmth intensifying as she reached out again. The symbols shimmered under her touch, and she felt an inexplicable connection to the light. Perhaps the lesson lies in understanding our own desires, recognizing them not as burdens to discard but as integral parts of our journey. The path is fraught with peril, yes, but within that peril is the chance for growth. In that moment, the energy shifted, and the ornate designs began to swirl before their eyes, drawing pictures of struggle and duality between darkness and light, despair and hope. Voices erupted around them, a symphony of centuries of cries echoing in the chamber. The path to understanding first requires acceptance, a voice resonated, layered within the chaos. Only by knowing our truth can we reshape the course of our lives. Do you hear it? Miriam leaned in closer to Nehemiah. It sounds almost like a collective sorrow, but also a yearning for redemption. Yes, Nehemiah whispered, her heart racing. They wish for us to know and to recognize that we are part of a continuous cycle. But how do we unearth the deeper truth of these lessons while standing amidst their pain? As if in response to their shared question, the petals of light began to meld into a singular vibrant burst, a portal forged from all the emotions contained within. It swirled until it revealed a landscape much like their own but twisted and shadowed, an altar adorned with sacrifices of the spirit. Nehemiah took a step back, sensing the pull of the unknown. What awaits us on the other side of that portal? Will we confront the essence of those who strayed, or will we find mirrors reflecting our own souls? Miriam stepped forward, the warmth of the glow illuminating her resolve. We must choose. Whether to delve further or retreat, the decision lies solely with us. But perhaps the journey itself is our greatest teacher, and therein lies the true connection to the fallen and invitation to rise despite our deepest fears. With the flicker of light beckoning them forward and whispers of the past swirling around them, they faced the mysterious portal, bodies tensed with both anticipation and dread. Would they find revelation, or merely deepen their entanglement in choices eternally made? The air crackled with a promise, but what awaited them beyond the threshold remained cloaked in uncertainty. How do we truly engage with the shadows of our past to forge a path toward the light, and what are we willing to sacrifice in that pursuit? The light from the portal shimmered, casting ethereal hues across the chamber as Naamah and Miriam stood before the threshold of the unknown. The swirling energies felt alive, as if beckoning them not merely to observe but to partake in an unfolding narrative that had long been in motion. As they stepped forward, the moment their feet crossed the threshold, the world around them shifted dramatically. They found themselves standing in a vast expanse, the air cool and crisp, reminiscent of twilight just before night fully descended. The sky was a deep indigo, dotted with stars that twinkled not just with light but with secrets. An altar stood before them, engraved with the same intricate symbols they had seen on the pedestal but now animated, dancing with a life of their own, pulsating as though in recognition of their arrival. "Where are we?" Miriam whispered, her eyes wide as she took in the profound beauty and the shadows lurking just out of sight. "This place feels familiar," Naamah replied, her voice barely a whisper. "It is as if we are standing in the remnants of Cain's city, yet transformed by time and woven with threads of longing and regret." Suddenly, ethereal figures began to emerge from within the shadows. They floated gracefully, their wings glinting as they caught the starlight, revealing faces that bore the weight of untold stories and sorrow. Among them were the fallen once glorious beings now bound to the ground of their own creation, seeking redemption in the eyes of the living. One figure stepped forward, wings unfurled, casting a celestial glow. Its voice was like a distant echo, both sorrowful and inviting. "We were cast down, yet we still carry the light within us. It flickers dimly at times, but it is the memory of what was, and the hope of what can still be." Naamah felt a resonance within her, for this being spoke not only of their fall but of her own struggles to rise above the weight of expectation. "Are you not burdened by your past?" she asked, her voice steady despite the chills racing down her spine. The figure regarded her thoughtfully. "We are shaped by our choices. The echoes of our actions ripple through time, not merely as condemnations but as lessons to be learned. As you step into this realm, know that the journey is as crucial as the destination." "But what must we face here?" Miriam interjected, an edge of urgency in her tone. "Can we confront the essence of those who fell without falling into despair ourselves?" The being nodded slowly, its wings enveloping them in a gentle light. "You must uncover the truth hidden within your hearts, the fears that shackle you to past mistakes. Only by confronting the shadows can light be born anew. What do you fear most within yourselves?" Naamah exchanged a glance with Miriam, the shared weight of their unresolved questions hanging heavy in the air. "I fear that I will never embody the strength my mother spoke of," Naamah admitted, the words flowing raw and unguarded. "What if I am destined to repeat the mistakes of those before me?" Miriam clasped her hand tightly, determination igniting within her. "I fear that in chasing what feels right, I might forsake what truly matters. In seeking to rise above, will I lose sight of those who look up to me?" The ethereal figure's glow intensified, the shadows receding slightly, revealing a kaleidoscope of memories woven into the air, moments of triumph and despair, choices made that had forever altered their paths. In acknowledging these fears, you are taking the first step toward transformation. Each shadow represents a choice, a moment where you can elevate or descend. As the visions swirled around them, the warmth of understanding began to seep into Naamah and Miriam's hearts. Yet the deeper revelation still remained just beyond their grasp, like a faint whisper on the wind, a promise not yet fully revealed. Naamah closed her eyes, trying to ground herself in this new reality. But what if we grasp the darkness and it overwhelms us? How do we emerge unscathed from such encounters? The figure's wings fluttered softly, resonating with a gentle vibrational hum. To face the shadows does not require you to forget the light. Embrace both, for they together form the whole of who you are. Learn from the fallen, who sought transcendence even amid their downfalls, and remember, every rise has its risks, but also its rewards. With the weight of their fears laid bare before them and the portal behind them now closed, Nehemiah and Miriam felt the urgency of their choice. They stood at the intersection of their paths, aware that the journey ahead would unveil not just the secrets of Cain's city but their own uncharted hearts. In the silence that followed, a new question emerged amidst the echoes of the past. What if, in recognizing our shadows, we discover unforeseen truths about our purpose that reshape our understanding of sacrifice and redemption? As the light from the altar flickered around them, Nehemiah and Miriam felt a tremor of understanding rise within. The ethereal figure, still glowing softly, regarded them with a deep compassion that transcended time. Every heart bears its scars, both light and dark, it said, voice reverberating like the echoes of forgotten melodies. To know oneself is to embrace all facets, every failure and every triumph. Your task is to cultivate wisdom from the shadows. Nehemiah, feeling the stir of fearful courage, took a step closer to the figure. But how do we learn to stand amidst the shadows without losing ourselves? How do we find strength when everything seems so uncertain? The being's wings folded gently, casting a warm light over them. Seek not an answer, child of Cain, seek instead the questions that reveal your true essence. What lessons lay within your fears? For in truth, the angel and the fallen are both reflections of your journey. Miriam, emboldened by Nehemiah's inquiry, added, and what of the city we left behind? Shall we return to Enoch transformed, or remain tethered to the very shadows that challenge us? A solemn silence hung in the air, and then the figure emitted a vibrant shimmer as it spread its wings wide. You are all threads in a broader tapestry, woven between the realms. Each choice you make has the potential to alter the fabric of your existence and all connected to it. Return to Enoch with your newfound awareness, for the true essence of redemption lies in recognizing the power to create anew, even amidst despair. Nehemiah exchanged a glance with Miriam, a flicker of understanding flaring between them. They had sought answers to the questions that haunted them. Yet now, they realized that the answers were not singular, they would come through experiences threaded together by their own choices. The lingering weight of the city's history pressed down on their hearts, igniting a desire to reclaim their narratives and infuse them with light. Then let us return, Nehemiah declared, her voice imbued with newfound strength. Let us embrace the shadows and weave from them a brighter future. In that moment, as if acknowledging their resolve, the space around them shifted, the air shimmering like the dawn breaking over horizons unexplored. The altar pulsed gently, illuminating a path back toward Enoch. The journey precedes you, the figure intoned softly, its voice a distant echo that lingered within. Remember, you hold the key, let your heart guide the way. As they stepped forward, the familiar energy of the temple wrapped around them, the shimmering light folding them back through the portal as sunlight kissed the edges of their existence. They emerged at the threshold of Enoch, sunlight pouring over familiar cobblestones, illuminating the somber corners that now appeared vibrant and full of potential. Finding themselves back in the marketplace, Nehemiah and Miriam exchanged a determined gaze. The streets of Enoch were alive with whispers carried on the wind, stories of both struggle and redemption. They saw the shadows differently now, not merely specters of fear but companions to their journey, reminders of their humanity and complexity. Shall we share what we learned? Miriam asked, her eyes lighting up with excitement. Perhaps in revealing our truths, we can inspire others to embrace their shadows as well. Nehemiah nodded vigorously, her heart swelling with resolve. Yes. Let us gather the people, weave together our stories, and create a dialogue that transforms pain into purpose. This cycle does not end with us alone, we are the bearers of the light that can spark hope in others. As they walked through the streets, they could feel the pulse of the city synchronizing with their own, a living testament to transformation, a place where the legacy of Cain embraced possibilities, offering redemption through the acknowledgement of the light and shadow. The people of Enoch began to gather, curiosity and anticipation lining their faces. Standing upon a stone platform, Naamah raised her arms, inviting silence as they turned their attention toward her. "Hear me, friends and family. We have wrestled with the weight of our past and emerged with understanding that we are not merely defined by our shadows but by the choices we make in the light of them." Murmurs filled the crowd as Miriam joined her side, words swelling from her heart. "The stories of our ancestors are not mere tales of ruin, they are nuances of our shared humanity. They whisper of courage in the face of darkness, of the possibilities that await those brave enough to confront their fears." With each word spoken, the crowd began to feel a shift, disbelief turned to hope, confusion stitched into comprehension. They were awakened to the truth that their fates were interwoven, a community tethered to both the darkness and the light, and as the last echoes of their voices faded, Naamah felt a surge of understanding ripple through her. This was her purpose, her revelation. By uncovering the past, she would empower others to transcend it, inspiring a metamorphosis of hearts within Enoch. The mark of Cain transformed from a symbol of despair to a testament to resilience. In that moment of clarity, she realized that the true connection between Cain's city and the fallen was not only marked by the shadows they cast but ultimately illuminated by the choices they made to rise above them. Light and darkness intermixed, creating a vivid tapestry of existence. As they held hands and faced their community, Naamah and Miriam breathed deeply, feeling the warmth of shared possibility enveloping them. Enoch stirred around them with newfound energy, vitality pulsing through every stone and soul, awakening lives into a journey of collective healing and divine connection. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, bursting forth the stars anew, Naamah understood the legacy of her ancestors was not a burden to bear but a gift to embrace, guiding her heart onward, forever intertwined in the sacred dance between shadow and light. A dance where every soul held the power to create and transform. As the evening enveloped Enoch, the city embraced its perplexity and beauty, ready at last to write a new chapter, lovingly stitched together by the hands of those willing to face the shadows for the sake of a brighter dawn.